Welcome to the HEARTS Entwined podcast. In this podcast, we'll be having discussions around the secrets which attract lasting, healthy, fulfilling relationships, creating a healthy mindset, and what women should know and understand about men. Introducing your host, Lyn Smith, the Queen of Hearts, relationship expert, trainer, speaker, and best-selling author of the Cupid's Bow technique. Lyn's mission is to have a positive impact in reducing divorce, domestic violence, and suicide.
Welcome to the HEARTS Entwined podcast. This is your host, Lyn Smith, the Queen of Hearts. And today, listeners, I've got a really interesting topic for you and a very lovely guest. Her name is Berenice Brito. She's a wellness weaver and pleasure coach. And we're going to be talking about embodying pleasure. So welcome, Berenice.
Thank you so much for having me here. And I hope to bring a little bit of pleasure to each one of you.
Excellent. I'm really, really interested in this topic because we had a little bit of a chat off there and you got me intrigued because pleasure isn't necessarily about what we can do in the bedroom, is it? And I think quite often when we talk about pleasure, people automatically think, oh, it's got to be around sex, don't they?
They for sure do. And it's the first place that your mind goes to when you think about pleasure. But you can view pleasure in so many different ways. Like you pick up a rose and you inhale that beautiful, astonishing, all-encompassing smell. And you let that flow through your body and you feel it just overflowing inside of you. Isn't that pleasurable?
Absolutely. And I think we forget that we can engage all our senses in that sort of experience, not just the smell, but the look and the velvety feel of the petals even.
Definitely, definitely. And the more senses you engage, the more pleasure you feel, because pleasure comes through all the senses, not just the five senses, but also the sixth sense, which many call intuition, others call connection with your higher self. No matter how it shows up for you, is that extra sensory input that you have. And when you add that into your pleasure, things really go to a whole new level.
And I think we forget to enjoy things, as we're experiencing life, we can actually enjoy silly little moments in our lives, even such as washing up the dishes in the washing up bowl, and putting our fingers in the suds and enjoying the suds going through our fingers.
Definitely. Everything that you perceive, you can choose how you want to perceive it. You can choose how you want to feel that thing, no matter how negative it might be. Like some people love to touch reptiles, right? They get pleasure from that cold skin, from that icy, slimy characteristic of it. Others don't. And that comes from the point you start, what pleasure is for you, what you consider pleasurable. And you can always change the way you choose to connect to things, the way you want to perceive them. It is, and it can always be a conscious choice.
What is it that actually got you into this topic, Berenice? What sort of started you getting intrigued in talking about and helping people experience pleasure?
For me, what happened was I lived most of my life thinking that I had issues in bed. I thought that I couldn't really feel as much pleasure as most people would talk about. I used to think that what I read in books was all fiction and impossible to achieve. And as far as I went into my own self-knowledge journey, pleasure started flourishing for me. Not just the sexual pleasure, which now I went from someone that never had O's to having multiple O's per day, and believing that it's not just my body during the intimate act that can feel pleasure, but that I can feel pleasure in any moment of my life. That has allowed me to have a better connection with my child, for instance, because now I can really feel pleasure when I'm playing a game with him. He is 6, I'm 42. there is a big difference, right? Many times what is enjoyable for me is not the same that is enjoyable for him. But when you learn to really enjoy the little things in life, you can have real, actual fun doing something that a 6-year-old is going to go crazy about. And that is amazing.
I think we forget our inner child wants to play, don't we? And, even if we weren't a child that experienced a lot of fun and happiness and game playing due to whatever circumstances that we got brought up in, I think that inner child always wants to come out to play, no matter what age you are.
Definitely, as long as you let that inner child go and do the playful thing, because many of us learn to not really express ourselves, right? We learn to hide, we learn to play small, we learn to, it was not appropriate to be loud, or it was not appropriate to laugh loudly. And those are all conditions that we get throughout our lives that make that inner child feel inept or feel inadequate. And once you start really letting that grow, getting more playfulness into your life, increasing the pleasure that you get from small things, life just becomes completely different. You can really truly live in bliss.
I totally love that. And I embrace it. And I think, for some people, they might think that, oh, well, that's going to come across as looking as though you're a bit immature, but it doesn't have to be that way, does it?
No, it doesn't. I can tell you the other day, I had a super funny day. I was with my son and we were leaving a party and it was nighttime. And once we got outside, just the light poles, it started making some funny shadows and we started dancing to it. Yeah, at first look, someone might be like, "Ah, what they are doing?" But then I could tell the parents that were around us just staring and appreciating us, just having fun on that moment.
Excellent. I love it. I think we can be the role models for how to live happy and blissful and pleasurable lives, can't we? And the naysayers maybe get converted into thinking we want some of that.
Exactly, because seeing is believing, right? When you see other people going through it, you start believing that it's possible for you too. And it is. Because a lot of times we think that things are not real. Like I thought that having as much pleasure during your intimacy was not something that was real. It was something that only happened in books, only happened in TV. And now I know that that's not true because I'm living it. And the reason that I'm talking about it is because I know that if I don't, many women are going to continue believing that is just a make believe, that is something that only happens in books. And I want it to be your reality because it can be.
So what got you thinking that it could be different for you?
To tell you the truth, I didn't even know that it could be different for me. I I used to think I was broken. I used to think that I had issues, that for me to have pleasure in a sexual way, for instance, many different things had to happen at a certain way so I could maybe possibly get there. And I always thought that it was my issue. I thought that I was not built right or that my body wasn't functioning right. And as I got along into getting to know myself and embodying my pleasure, which just means connecting to your body in a deeper sense, I realized that my body was never fighting me. My body was never against me. All that my body was trying to do was show me the things that I needed to work on, that I needed to get through. So it was just a warning sign. And now looking back, I can see all the warning signs that my body was sending me. But because I did not know better, I misconstrued it as being broken or being damaged.
So give the audience some examples of what those warning signs were for you, Berenice.
So I used to think that, like I said, it was normal to not orgasm when you're intimate with your partner. I thought the normal thing to do was to be able to multitask, right? That's another thing that we always hear, like we are supposed to multitask. And a lot of times when we are trying to really multitask, you're not really focusing on anything. So that conditioning of trying to do too many things and feeling like you're not doing anything for real, that's not just you. We all feel that because you can multitask in the sense that you can be aware of different things at the same time. But if you're really trying to focus and make one thing excellent, you need to focus on that one thing. And that's why when your body starts hurting, or you used to be someone that used to feel a lot of pleasure in bed, and now you're experiencing more dryness, or you're experiencing maybe pain during intercourse, or you are not really getting that excitement, that is your body telling you that you're not focusing on your body. You're not allowing your body to do what is better for it to do. Because pleasure, especially for women, is very mental. I know that most people think that being mental is a negative thing, but in reality it's not. It just means that it starts in our head, right? So the same way as it starts in our head and thoughts in our head can block it, the thoughts in our head can make it grow, can make it expand. What you focus on expands. So when you start focusing on the connection you have with your body, when you start connecting and focusing on all of your senses, the 5 known senses, touch, smell, sound,
Taste.
taste, thank you. And you add your 6th sense, right? That extra sensory perception that you have, because everybody has that inside of themselves. Some of them have it more flourished than others, but we all have it. After you start allowing and letting that connection to the senses grow, you can feel more pleasure within your body, because all the neural pathways that our brains have, they can be rebuilt, and our brain usually goes on the pathways that it's used to. But when you create new pathways for your thoughts to flow, and you focus on those neural pathways, those are the ones that start being transversed all the time. So that's why you can leave what you used to think behind and create new thought patterns. That's why you can stop thinking that you're broken and start realizing that you can patch up and you can embellish and you can make better all the pathways that will bring you maximum pleasure.
Oh, that's so great. So for you, what sort of age did this sort of breakthrough come about?
Oh, I was 40 years old. So I've spent most of my life not knowing. I spent most of my life feeling that I was broken. And let me tell you, it sucks to feel that there is something inherently wrong with you. And I know that a lot of women feel that. And that's why I'm speaking up about it, because I want those women to know that they are not broken. It's just a pathway in their brains that is not been yet well transversed. And the more that they focus on that new pathway, more pleasure they can have in their lives, not just sexually. Because I realize that when you feel like you can't really enjoy intimacy or enjoy sexual moments, you also cannot enjoy other things in your life. When your child gives you a hug, You might appreciate that hug, but are you really feeling their little arms squeezing you and showing you how much they adore you in that moment? Or are you taking that for granted? A lot of times, women that feel disconnected from their pleasure, that feel like they don't really get that much from intimacy, they also miss out on appreciating how other people love them. And that also makes it harder for them to show other people how much they love them. And I know that as a mom, being able to show my child that he is my number one and that I love him with all my heart is one of my main goals in life.
Oh, that's sweet. Really sweet. And do you think it matters? I don't know if you've heard of the five love languages, but obviously, just briefly to touch on them, one of them's physical touch, other one's acts of service, another one is words of affirmation, another one's gifts, and I forget what the fifth one is, but I know that for some people, it isn't all around the sense of touch, for example, that gives them pleasure.
The other one that is quality time, which is my favorite actually.
Yes, that's
I
it.
love quality time. And maybe that's why you skipped it so I could bring it up because that is my number one. Of course, I love words of affirmation, gifts, and all the other love languages, right? But for me, and it goes in sync with everything that I've been talking about in this podcast, it is the quality of the time you're spending together, the quality of time of the experience itself. And yes, I think it's very important for you to know how the other person perceives love, because if the way you show love is not in a way that they perceive it, doesn't matter how much you throw at them, they're never really gonna realize it. So the more you increase your connection to your senses, your awareness of yourself and of what you do to others and how you perceive the things around you, the easier it is for you to really understand how the five love languages work, and you can better communicate with the ones you love and with the ones that are part of your world. Most definitely, the love languages are a game changer on all relationships.
Yeah, and I think it's important to know, I think we appreciate all of them, all of us, but we usually have one or two that are more our favorite ones, if you like, I suppose, that we really appreciate and enjoy. And for me, it is physical touch. So if somebody isn't very touchy-feely, that can make me feel rejected sometimes because I'm a very warm, touchy-feely person.
I completely understand you. I am very touchy-feely too. I like having the connection. I think the skin connection, right? And when we say touchy-feely, we're not talking about engaging in sexual act. It can just be holding hands,
Yes, hugs.
hugging, anything that is using the touch, right? There's a lot of correlation between the five love languages and the five senses, even though there is not one specific for smelling, right? But we can do the physical as touch. We can do the words of affirmation as sound. Quality time is presence. So it might be that sixth sense in a way, because the more you're connected to your intuition and to your higher self and with your awareness, more present you can be at that moment. So for me, being present, it's very big. And that's why quality time is my number one. But all of us have different perceptions and all of us like different things. And yes, you can have all five languages, just that one or two or maybe even three are going to be the highest ones for you, the ones that really make you feel loved by someone. And that's what that's what the love languages are all about, is about understanding that propagation and that transference of the love itself.
Yeah. And I think it's important to know what your partner's top love languages are as well, so that if it isn't the same as yourself, then you can obviously make them feel loved and appreciated by remembering what feels good to them.
Most definitely. Most definitely. Like if you take someone that has a love language that is touch, right? Let's do that one. That is physical contact. And you have the partner being someone that likes acts of service. Well, the person that likes the feeling wants to be touched, hugged, kissed every day. The one that likes the acts of service likes for their partner to go and do the dishes once in a while, take the trash out, or give them a massage. Whatever it is that is in service of them, that makes them feel loved. So for the person that has the act of service as a love language, to receive that from someone that they love means the world. The same way as for the one that loves the physical contact, to receive that physical contact means the world. So for that couple to work well, they have to each show both things. And that if you do that, if you show the other love any given day and every day, you make your intimate time much better, because pleasure, sexual pleasure, it starts much before you hit the bed. It starts by the day-to-day life of doing what the other one needs to feel loved, to feel respected, to feel appreciated. So yes, the love languages are excellent and super important for any relationship to be successful and to have the most pleasure it can.
That's so interesting. I could talk about this topic for, hours with you, Berenice, but unfortunately we are limited on time. So for those audience members that would love to connect with you, what would be your best form of connection?
You can always reach me on Instagram. That's my main platform. I'm under bb_wellness_weaver. And there you can find all my links, my bio site, and everything. So going into my IG is the best way to reach me. Once again, it's bb_wellness_weaver.
Thank you so much. And for those people that would like a little extra gem of information around how to embody pleasure, what extra words of wisdom can you leave them with today?
Beautiful. I'm gonna give you, I don't do homework, I do pleasure work. So if you wanna do it, it is very simple. You're gonna put an alarm daily for 5 minutes at the same time every day. You pick whatever time works best for you, morning, afternoon, or night before going to bed. You're gonna set aside 5 minutes and you're gonna do absolutely nothing. You're gonna sit or lay down with yourself. You're not gonna control your thoughts. You're not gonna decide what you're gonna think. You're just gonna let the thoughts flow through your mind. You can start with 5 minutes. Once you have managed that and you're feeling comfortable, which might take you a little getting used to, you can increase that to 10 minutes and then to 15 minutes. And you're gonna see how more connected you start feeling with yourself by doing absolutely nothing and just noticing the thoughts that come up in your mind. If you want to take it a step further, you can also journal about your experience after you're done. And then you're going to start realizing the patterns that come back to you.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that and for giving that as a tip and an exercise or a couple of exercises there for our audience to take on board. Thank you, Berenice. It's been a fascinating conversation today.
It was my pleasure being here, and I will be back whenever you want me to talk to your audience. It is amazing to spread the word. I think sharing is caring, and I do care a lot. So
thank you so much. Thank you so much. So it just leaves me to say that true love starts with opening our hearts. And until next time, goodbye for now.
Thanks for listening to the Hearts Entwined podcast. You can follow Lyn via the Facebook group Two Hearts Entwined, or search Lyn Smith, inspirational speaker, at LinkedIn, or email lyn@hearts-entwined.com. That's LYN@hearts-entwined.com. Remember, true love starts with opening our hearts.